Direct from the Six, world-renowned, Canada's largest city, with Canada's biggest thinkers, visionaries, and hustlers. This is Startup Talk, featuring the founders, funders, innovators, and community leaders who've led Canada's startup ecosystem right here in Toronto. You'll hear the challenges, the failures, the successes. Toronto's Startup Podcast gives you the full story direct from the entrepreneurs and influencers who've made a difference. Now, the host of Startup Talk, the founder of Toronto Starts, the Startup Coach.
I've been saying this for a while. I started my first startup back in 2015, and we were trying to solve this loneliness epidemic. And we were, at the time, I was saying we are hyper connected globally and hyper disconnected locally. And it's even gotten worse. Now we've got more and more tools, more and more AI and avatars. We're more remote from work. And we're starting to see ramifications for that. So are we going to see changes see more people starting to disconnect electronically and more connection happening in person? Are we going to see companies doing disconnect Fridays, or what are we going to see? Are we going to see a trend in the opposite direction? Or are we all moving to direct implants into our brain and we're not going to stop this flow of stuff?
Oh, no. I mean, in some ways it's kind of exciting, but also kind of scary, right? Because we lose our ability to be humans, I think. It's so important. If you don't mind, panelists, right? Like, I would love to start the conversation on this because it's near and dear to my heart. It's really the catalyst for why OOT started, is because my own levels of disconnection that I was feeling in downtown Toronto, and even being an immigrant to Canada, right? I immigrated when I was 5 years old. I mean, this was a long time ago. However, I felt the ramifications of feeling lonely as being an immigrant. And I think a lot of folks that are immigrants feel this way oftentimes when they come to a new country. But what I can say is that, I think for sure, I think that there is now, especially coming out of the pandemic, there's a move now for the real. Like, I feel it. I feel like it's almost like it's palpable. Like we need to connect with each other. We're starting to see now the emergence more of some of these in-person larger events that are taking place, because people are craving that ability to sit in front of each other and really have that conversation, and seeing all those wonderful facial cues and body language, that you can decipher. It's cool. Like, we got a chance to meet, a couple of weeks ago, right, Craig?
Absolutely.
And it was great meeting you. It was great seeing everybody live at your Startup Drinks event. So I really enjoy it. I think that there's a desire and a craving for the real.
I agree.
Anyone else?
I think that there's some apps that are coming out that could potentially help solve that.
Yes.
Yes. Hopefully. Yeah. I honestly, Thyagi, you could pay me your money after, but I'm just kidding. I've been a beta tester for the OOT platform, and I think it's got great potential to help for us to take it from virtual to in person, and not just force us, but encourage us. So I think it's great, but no, I have to admit, I was a big proponent of always in person. I was always doing things and always doing things like going out and everything like that, networking and all that sort of stuff. Then the pandemic hit, and ever since the pandemic, it's been a struggle for me to get back to meeting in person. And there have been conferences that I absolutely love to go to, like the Blockchain Futures Conference that just got announced. But I forced myself to go to those. And at the end of the day, after I get home, I'm exhausted, but I'm happy. And so I think there's still that hesitation from people that to do in person. And I don't know, I'm hoping OOT's app will help solve that. But that I think is a problem that we need to solve, is getting those people who are now comfortable at home, comfortable online, doing Zoom meetings and different things like that, getting them and encouraging them to go out to live. Live.
The only thing that I'm going to add, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Alex, in just a moment, but is that there's health benefits, right? To connecting physically. Yep. We are human beings. So Yale just came out with a study in October, and it was a fantastic study that talked about, they hooked up the brains of multiple different folks that were part of the study, and they analyzed folks that were connecting face-to-face and having conversations face-to-face, and those that were just doing Zoom conversations. So bottom line is, without a shadow of a doubt, the folks that were doing face-to-face conversations showed our brain activity was lit up like no other, like a Christmas tree, versus those that were just on these Zoom calls where you were still interacting, but it was very surface level and wasn't as much brain activity. So it's very clear how our brains are also kind of like absorbing that type of interaction, because we need this almost like nourishment. So it's very important that we recognize that the importance of this. So what OOT ultimately is doing is, we're not just saying meet at particular places at particular times. We're trying to say network any time of the day by connecting into a vicinity and checking in based on your interests. So there's different community groups that you may be a part of, which a lot of us are from a digital standpoint. But what if you layer in proximity, where you can actually connect with people that are 5 minutes away from you, 10 minutes away from you, an hour away from you, and have that richness of knowing that you can interact with folks, but they're just a few minutes away from having a coffee. Amazing. So that's my plug, shameless plug. Yeah. There you go, Alex.
This kind of thing is really important. I mean, I have a friend of mine who has been antisocial for a long time, COVID and all that stuff. I don't mean he's antisocial. It just turns out, you're inside and not being social. Yeah. And took a long time to get him to get out and meet in a group to play role-playing games or whatever. And I pushed him for like 2 years and finally found one. And it turns out like literally 3 doors down from his house is a group from, but for years he didn't do anything. And like a tool like this to say that, hey, there's people meeting, people going on. People need to connect. You say there's health benefits. It's more than that. Connecting and meeting people face to face is more important to your health than diet and exercise. Like, for your longevity, you'll last so much longer. It's more important than going to the gym is smiling and talking to your barista, talking to people, talking to those other,
right? Yeah,
laughing.
You got
absolutely.
It.
This stuff is so important, and we really need to be taking phones away. Are we going to start seeing more events where we just take phones away and stop people from looking at each other? I mean, I think it'd be a great idea. Put your phone in the bag.
Yeah. I like a good ROI and optimized time. So that's where we love, the OOT platform helps you see the folks that are in the room that are checked in. So you can better optimize and connect even more effectively. So you have a little bit of data on folks so that, you can connect better. But listen, I want to actually hear what Alex has to say on this topic too.
No, I'm actually, now I'm just feeling, I have a little FOMO right now. It's like, I wish that I had my OOT preview so that I could also, weigh in on it. But I'm excited. I'll sign up for that. I'm excited.
Another time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is really great discussion. I don't think there'll be much debate here because we'll probably be mostly in agreement. I think what you guys have mentioned is entirely true. I think, Craig, you kind of kicked off the conversation too about work-life balance and hybrid work and remote work. I think, we've all seen that, I'm thankful, scandalous point, but I am thankful for the pandemic for what it did for us technologically and really kickstarting the remote work movement. I don't know about you guys. I think most of us, especially those who were in kind of corporate stuffy jobs, my last company that I will not name, explicitly said no remote work, period. It was if you do not come to the office, you do not have a job here. And as part of the management team, that was the message that I was expected to enforce with all of my team and my staff. And I fundamentally disagreed with it. So, I'm thankful to COVID for that because, organizations that were not flexible were forced to change. And so I think there was a lot of great positive, but, as you guys have all said, with great power comes great responsibility. We have, as you said, the pendulum has swung. And I think we've all become really blessed, frankly, by the convenience and the positives that came from remote work. But I think we've also all become a little bit, well, as you said, all of you have mentioned, like there are a lot of dangers and risks that came with that we didn't necessarily anticipate, right? Like, yeah. I think 5 years ago, when working from home was for me, it's always been a real pleasure. It's been like, it's a real, something you take for granted, right? It was like, how nice that I'm able to do this and avoid, sitting like long commutes and blah, 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 and all these 100 wonderful reasons. And we didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about what are the negative ramifications. What are we losing? Anyways, I think you guys have said that, like,
yeah, I would love to just put a PSA or something out there around the fact that we know the benefits of things like exercise. We know the benefits of eating well, right? Like whole foods and like good food. We know these things. We know them because it's been taught to us now. It's now ingrained as part of our society. There's now a massive shift that I think governments are now putting emphasis on around social health, that we need to actually make time for connections, whether it's work friends or whether it's within your personal life with family. We need to make sure that that part of our life is also fulfilled so that we can be happier as human beings. I think this is very important. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with physically going into the office. So a lot of times people think that I'm for that. I'm not necessarily for that. I'm saying we need flexibility. Yeah. And you need to be able to connect. You need a platform to help you connect better face to face. Social media isn't doing it for us, right? Their goal is to have our eyeballs on their platforms for ads.
With more than 50% of North Americans live alone, and they need to get out. COVID hits, you're by yourself. Mm-hmm. Not going anywhere. You're getting your groceries delivered for 2 years, and so you need to get out of your house. I work from home most of the days because I don't live in Toronto. I live in Burlington, and I'll go to the coffee shop. They're probably sick and tired of me. Like every day I'm there for 2 or 3 hours. But, I see a lot of people that are somewhat friends now just from being there, and they see me every day. At first, they're just kind of strangers, and then they start smiling. And next thing you know, they're talking to you about their lives. So get out and connect, whether it's a co-working space, whether it's a coffee shop, whether it's downloading a social app like Oot. Go to oot.live and join the beta and take a look and start connecting locally. Yeah, because these things help, and you really need your support tribe. You really don't understand how valuable it is to start connecting again. So definitely, please, people, start connecting. And it's not just for you. Like, think about, maybe you don't need it, but probably someone else in your life does. So think about them.
And like, if you're gonna go, I don't know, like there might be the segue to the next topic too. So I'll get ahead here, but I think
I'm switching things around, so you're not going to guess what the next topic is.
Oh no, you're doing it again. Every time I get ready. Okay. Well, then we'll save that for the next one. But just I think I love tech. I think everybody here does, right? Like we're all early adopters. We're all signed up for every beta. Invite me to. There's no beta that I will turn down. I love to be on everything. And I think that's what's wonderful about technology. Like, there's so much great stuff, right? And it is inspiring, and it has made us, and it's not just in the last 5 or 10 or 20 years. Like, that's the nature of technology and innovation. It has made us like more efficient. It's given us, like, it's just done a lot for us from a productivity perspective, the knowledge we can access. Like, obviously, I'm a big tech proponent. I think you guys are all too. So like, I'm not anti-tech here at all. But it's true that like too much of a good thing, as you said. And so, all of the wonderful tools and AI that's come now, but even before the dawn of the AI obsession, like even just automation, even all this software, like it's kind of made us so efficient and so productive that we've kind of, you joked about the chips and the plants there, Craig, like sign me up. I'm ready to be a cyborg. but but like we have to not lose our humanity, like you were saying, Thyagi, right? Like at the end of the day, it's great if we are wonderfully productive, focused, hyper efficient workers and members of society. That's awesome. But sometimes I think it's okay to just like not be productive and just be people and hang out and have conversation, like you're saying, and just like connect as humans. So it's just it'll
Which
be really
means we all have to get together for real life coffee or
yes.
right? The four of us at some point. I would love that. That would be fantastic.
I love this. Also, can we just have a moment for tech? Hi, Alan.
Alan.
And I love the internet.
You.
I love that this is happening live. Alan, sounds great. Alan also has an awesome podcast. I don't know. This is just like very exciting to me that the tech worlds are all colliding at this moment.
Yeah, Alan, thank you for downloading the Oot app and letting us know on LinkedIn. Appreciate it.
This has been Startup Talk, Toronto's startup podcast. For more exclusive content, the episode vault, and to be part of Toronto Starts community, visit torontostarts.com. Get your name on the newsletter mailing list and check out our upcoming events. For more episodes, subscribe now. And please recognize the time and work behind the scenes put into connecting you with the biggest visionaries, entrepreneurs, and innovators in Toronto by leaving a 5-star review. Join us for more next episode from Toronto's most active entrepreneur and startup community on Startup Talk.